State your name and who you are and what you do.
My name is Sergent. I'm an artist, illustrator, and I suppose designer, and I paint and draw on vintage clothes.
Henry James Sergent was born in Arlington, Virginia, where he spent his childhood playing sports, exploring the outdoors, and especially drawing. But he wasn't just born as the famed vintage connoisseur we know today. Everyone has to start somewhere.
The woman who took care of me and my brother when my parents were at work as a kid, her name was Vilma, and her son always used to come over when she came over. His name was Omar, and he was pretty good at cartoons and whatnot, and he used to take me into the basement and have these drawing competitions, but really he just wanted to show me how much better he was at drawing. And me being the person I am, very competitive, that drove me. What I really got into was clothing. About 7th, 8th grade, I turned into Supreme Head Hype Beast, and that got too expensive for me. I got sick of buying $300 cigarette smelling Supreme hoodies. And so my dad put me on to some of his old Chicago Bulls t-shirts. I was like, wow, these are really sick, super old too, part of history. And from that point on, I started, researching vintage. And I had these kind of two interests going on at the same time when during COVID, nothing was happening. There's nothing going on. That I just decided, why don't I combine these things into a singular drive, because I was spending so much time on either of them, but nothing was coming of it. It was just amounting with a stack of vintage or clothing in my bedroom, and then just random doodles everywhere. So yeah, it's kind of a logical next step was to combine the two, and surprisingly, combining two passions equals something that I'm even more passionate about.
Sergent's style can be seen taking inspiration from many different places, but he cites his biggest influence as that of Gary Larson, creator of the Far Side comics. From Larson, Sergent has pulled his influence from his drawing techniques as well as many of his subject matter, in which Larson was known for. From there, Sergent's work and techniques would evolve to combine the surrealist with that of many cartoonish, naturalistic methods.
Those kind of served as my art classes, so as I grew up, it was more just a self-evolution of progressing that cartoonish style and adding different techniques like lighting or shadowing, and kind of creating this weird semi-realistic cartoonish style that kind of, I think, falls outside the bounds of what somebody would typically be taught. I mean, I have taken 2 or 3 art classes, and those certainly helped me in the really precise technical aspects, how to make a scene look as if it was realistic. But because I had that foundation of cartoonishness, of experimentation, it really just added to something that was already there. And that's something I take pride in. Another influence is the artwork from Pink Floyd's The Wall movie.
With many of his pieces, he looks to explore the many themes and subject matters that revolve around the health of our planet. One way in which he explores this is by sourcing all the clothing that he paints on from second-hand sources. He also looks to call out highly capitalistic brands who look the other way when it comes to their environmental impact.
Call out brands like Shein, or, depict kind of gruesome scenes in relation to humans' treatment of the environment. Is everything secondhand that I have painted on? No, I'm not perfect, but I seek to only source from thrift stores, and that's probably the majority of where the care is around the sustainability of my products. Outside of the sourcing of my clothing, there's not a whole lot that I do, but I do think the way I source clothing is significant in terms of I only get things from thrift stores or secondhand sites. I'm not going to any large like blank retailer, like going to like the t-shirt section of Michael's and picking a bunch of stuff up. And I think that matters. It's a hard question. Why does it matter? Because a lot of the times I do feel small. I do feel insignificant in terms of how much damage the fashion industry does to the earth. I think if I keep being inspired by others and then putting stuff out and maybe I inspire others, then maybe having secondhand stuff as a base for clothing will become something that is competitive with fashion at large. But it's all in like a collective effort. I'm not important. I'm only a part of it, but I'm very proud that I'm a part of it.
Through his works and his persistence in his craft, Sergent has gone on to show time and time again that his message comes off hard and strong and leaves a lasting impact with all those who come into contact with it.
Very loud or, eye-catching graphics with subject matter about the environment, like, I don't know, like this, like, it's not the best shirt in the world, but like, stop doing sheen hauls with like a burning earth, that's fairly visceral, I would say, at least eye-catching. This is a sheep standing over the planet he just murdered, kind of speaking about how our how tendencies of conformity will lead to the destruction of our planet. And I mean, the point of that, I don't want to say shock value because I don't want to put too much like emphasis into my own thing, but at the very least, I think graphics like that make people consider environmental damage in a more personalized perspective, like a lot of other artists do. I think I'd take a very hardline stance on that type of thing. Maybe it's a little off-putting, but I kind of want it to be off-putting. I ideally want people to be off-put by things that I paint about the environment. But also, it's not all like doom and gloom with me. Like, just the simple act of putting something that looks good on something secondhand means that somebody might wear something that's secondhand rather than new. And that, if I can put something on somebody and they wear it and they feel good about it, then maybe they have more value for buying secondhand. Maybe I can tweak somebody's mind a little bit like that.
With his efforts of creating fresh, new designs that both implement environmentally conscious worldviews while also doing so in a way to show others that old clothes can be new, it's people like Henry Sergent who are healing this world with one creation at a time.
It'd be like, it's gonna be like 5 minutes till I start painting.
Okay.
You see, hey, look, front page, right there. See that? That's you, that's me. That's me, front page. That's the captain's log right there.